Hi everyone, it's Lynn. Welcome to our next color crayon challenge chat. This week we're going to talk about violet. I love this color, and I think the more I played with it, the more I just was excited about it. And I know I've made a big purple quilt, and but I did read some stuff about it that I thought you would be interested in hearing. So when I was looking up in this book, that we've talked about, The Secret Lives of Color, one of the things that it talked about is this color became really popular during the Impressionist movement. And so it was used in a lot of the Impressionist paintings. And I thought that's really fun because I kind of am very attracted to Impressionist paintings. They're some of my favorites. So I like Claude Monet and Degas and, Cézanne and those kind of things. In fact, there's an exhibit coming around the country right now of Claude Monet, and you go in the room and it's like all over showing it and stuff. So I've asked to get tickets to go see that because I really wanted to see it. But it's kind of one of those immersive experiences. So anyway, but what I thought was interesting is violet is what they used. It was almost always a violet and bluish range that they used in all of their paintings, or a lot of their paintings, and it became criticized that they couldn't paint essentially with the one consistent theme concerning their preoccupation with the single color violet. So it was like all these artists during that Impressionist movement were really influenced by this color, and they actually called them, let me see, violetomania. I just thought that was fun. Like, their whole art movement got, panned by these critics, which, now we look back and go, oh my God, it was so beautiful. Or I do. Maybe not. It may not be for everybody. My husband goes up to him and goes, they're blurry, right? I'm like, yes, honey, they're blurry. But they thought it was completely mad. Like, many concluded that the artists were, to a man, completely mad, or at the very least suffering here into unknown disease, which they dubbed violetomania. So anyway, I thought that was fun. And this is, let me turn on the overhead. So this is the violet color that I came up with. This is shock cotton. So it's kind of, shock cottons are woven with one strand of fabric this way and then another slightly different color this way, so they kind of have a sheen to them. I think you can kind of see that, how it changes color. So I thought, well, since we were talking about violet and violet mania, then that was probably appropriate. So anyway, I did find a few things that were really kind of close to it. Of course, these Aboriginal fabrics look great with that. That's going to be fantastic. And I did kind of like these really kind of in those together. I think those look really fabulous together. So, of course, they're going to go with the blues and the greens. And, I think violet's going to live in there too. But I think violet in and of itself is probably going to surprise us in how well it goes with other colors as well. Now this is blue. It's a dusty blue, and it doesn't have any purple at all in it, but it still looks nice next to that. So you can see, because it's blue, it's going to blend in with that really well, and I love it. But let's put something really shocking against it. I think it looks good with orange too. I will tell you, honest to God, my favorite color combination, and I'm going to show you this quilt, and I think you've seen this quilt already. But my favorite color combination is orange, purple, and green. If I had to pick one color combination, that's one that I go to consistently. I've made several quilts that have that kind of color combination going. And I've gotten to lately where I'm making just these little kind of tabletop quilts, or little, just like you can put on your ottomans or stuff like that. I have them sitting all over my house because I keep making things, and I'm not going to put them up. So, but I think this is not the same color that's in here. This is a lighter purple, but you can see where that just purple orange and green always go together. They always go to there because they're complementary colors. They're always going to go to there, and I'm always excited to use them. They don't dull for me. I just find that I like them a lot. So I thought this was interesting. I think the other thing you could do with looking at violet stuff is to let's just pull these. This is the blues. How does it look with navy? How does it look with the dusty? How does it look with the more tealy? And they all work with it. I don't know that they all work together. But I thought you could see what the blues look like with this kind of thing. Put that down there. These are some more, like, not my favorite. Like, seriously, I didn't know if these would work or not, so I pulled them. But, yeah, not necessarily my favorite. But, let's look at some greens. Those work. I like this with it. That needs to be rewrapped. That's all jacked up. So you can see these 3 different color of greens. They all work with, maybe not together, but they all work with it individually. It's going to come down to that edge, right? And especially if you had another, color that sets it off. Now this is where I wanted to look at. So here you've got the orange again. Of course, I love orange and purple. And as a sports fan, and I know not everybody is, but as a sports fan, I look at that and go, Clemson. And then here's pink and purple. That's, of course, really popular. I look at that and go, unicorns. Because I think you see a lot of little girl kind of, unicorn-looking stuff with the pinks and the purples. And, of course, you get your burgundies and your reds. And, of course, I look at this and I think that Red Hat Society, where it's the poem where I will wear a red hat when I grow older. I will wear a red hat every day, and I won't care what people think. I don't remember the details of the poem, but I did make a red and purple quilt once. I think I should show it to you all. Of course, it goes with all the black and white. It's going to go with all of those. And the gray. This time I just pulled like more solid kind of colors to look at with the purple and not necessarily as many prints. I think that's rich looking. Look at that deep green. The bubbles. And that'll go because, you've got the blues and greens and aquas kind of thing. I thought we'd look at more kind of traditional solid colors. There's a green. I should have used that in the mermaid quilt, right? That I did. Oh, I don't know that you all saw that. I'm talking about quilts you haven't seen. It's going to look good with brown. It's always going to look good with your browns and tans. This is a more printed. Now, I think this would look fabulous with this. And it's not going to be your first choice, but I think it's a good choice. It's got that deep colors. That's kind of nice. And it does have this little bit of violet in it. See right there? Huh, okay. And then, oh, that's pretty. That's just pretty. But this does have a little bit of purple in it. But I thought we'd look at this one a little bit different with not as many prints, but more like solid colors. Now I'm going to bring out my favorite. That looks, I think I pulled this one out for so many and just thought it looked so good with so many of them. But I think that's just, because this is such a rich color, you're getting such a rich texture of this cave print that I'm just in love. I'm still in love with this cave print. Okay, here's some prints I brought out that I thought were interesting. I know we've seen these books before, but I think that works. Right? It's not the first color I would go to, but it definitely would work with it. Don't look at those yet. Don't look at those yet. But I think that would be complementary to it. Then we've got, now this is more fun type prints, and these are definitely not in This color is not in this set of prints, but I do think it's an interesting, I think it would work with them. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with these yet. I know I bought them because they were food and I thought they were funny. I do like it with them. Even though these mean more dull. And I think it's the value of the, you know. But I think one of the things that works with this too is that there's a lot of colors in these as well. I just think food trucks. I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't know. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with these. This is nice. Like, that is nice, don't you think? Okay. So the food truck. Oh. All right, I did some really bright. This is one of the really, now you've seen this one before, but to me that just, that's always going to work. Again, green, orange, purple. I love it. It's one of my go-tos. I use it all the time. I have to admit. Now here you've got, this purple is not in this, but I think this works with it because these blues work really well with this. So I think that that's maybe part of the lesson here is that even though you have a print with not the exact color in it, just because it's not the same color, if it's in the same family, it can still work, especially if it's still a rich color. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's really pretty with it. In fact, I should do something with that. That's nice. Here is... It works. It's not my favorite. It works, but it works. This one, this print I have found, this was a challenge print that we got in some challenge that I did with the Modern Quilt Guild years ago. And I have to admit, I found this print a little bit more difficult to work with than some other prints. And I think it's because of the inconsistency of it and because it was such a big print. So it's not like there was a motif that you could kind of go, let me cut out this pretty bird. And the bird is not here. It's just kind of splotches of paint and color. And that there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying the motif doesn't, it's not as, like this is what it is. It's kind of splashy. I just found it challenging to work with. I don't find the colors challenging to work with. I find the type of print that it is. And that's why it's kind of been... I used it in whatever challenge we did. I don't even remember now. But I haven't used it since. And I think it's one of those things that if you cut it into strips or small pieces, you know, you're going to get a piece with just that yellow on it. If you were cutting 2.5 by 2.5. And if you were wanting this blue, because that's what looked good with this was the blue, you know, you may be not surprised if you didn't do a fussy cut. So this almost demands that it be treated in really large blocks for this print, which is what I think makes it difficult to work with. Here is the postcard, and this has got several different, this is a panel, and I do like working with panels, so it's got several different postcards on it. So I think some of them work really well. You know, this would be a nice little highlight hit to this. Maybe a little bit of that, but it's not going to overwhelm it. This would overwhelm this because this is so bright and these are soft. There's just a softness to these postcard prints that this is a little strong for it, I think. I mean, I could be wrong. So I do like this with it because it's got that strength again. And the last two that I brought out were, I just wanted to see what these would do. Because this is one of that purple that we looked at, the red purple, I think, that we looked at earlier. And they work together, but it's definitely a different, this I don't think, no. Do you guys like, no. No, those aren't bad, kind of thing. And of course... You know, I'm always going to go to any kind of Tula, I think is going to go well with this. Because it's, even though this isn't really her purple, I think she's got enough of that world that it's going to fit well. And I kind of liked this with it, even though this is a different color. But I like this. I think this is a cotton and steel. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. It's Jubilee Melody Miller. Yes, it is cotton and steel. Yep. Old cotton and steel. But I love that. I think that's I've got this in a couple of colors, actually. So, anyway, I'm trying to make these shorter because I know that, let me switch it back. I'm trying to make these shorter because I know that, 30 minutes or 40 minutes is kind of long to listen to people talk. But I did want to talk about this. We'll do the color draw next and see what color we're going to work with next. And these just take longer for me to get out. Plus, I don't know if you can tell, I lost my voice, so I just got it back. Even though I sound like I didn't. So anyway. Well, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested, please join us for the Quilt Lit 101. I think we're on block 7. So you have plenty of time to catch up, and all the directions are on there. So we will talk to you soon. Bye.